Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. It is your friend Rusty Money here, and we are here back in FS22 to inspire the FS community here on an old game save back on Calm Lands in FS22, where I took on Crustu's 200 horsepower challenge here on Calm Lands, and this game save has like 363 hours or something like that on this game save. Lots of decorations, lots of little areas where I built some production and sell point businesses and built my grandpa's farm with a modern day look with mods from the All Platforms Mod Hub. So welcome David and Kid Dozer. Well, that was fast. And welcome back. Thanks, David. Oh, Rusty, how's it hanging? Good, Kid Dozer. We were just live on Maisie Lou Farms, and I was talking about this game save, and just thought we'd come back here for maybe a shorter live stream and just help inspire the new viewers to the channel and new subscribers to the channel playing FS. You know, a lot of what I did here on this game save inspired several other content creating friends to practice with using decorations and messing around with the landscaping tool. So we are here. I tried to catch it, but I had to drive. Oh, no problem, Kid Dozer, no problem. Well, we are back. We are back here on Calm Lands in FS22. We'll give it a couple of minutes here. Basically, what I'm going to do is I want to give a tour of what I did, and then we'll do a little farming and all of that good stuff for a little bit. And I just happened to see, too, I'm not sure if he is already, and David, maybe you can help answer this, but I saw an upcoming live stream or something from Bruce's Gaming on No Man's Land in FS19. Is that just for members, David, or for anybody? And he might be on now. Maybe it's later. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit and buy FS25 payday. Nice, Kid Dozer. So Bruce is going to go back to No Man's Land on FS19. I think that's what it said. All right, well, let's look at the PDA while we get some people rolling in. So in Crustu's 200 horsepower challenge, we had a little bit of a minimal start. And if we look at the PDA, I will show you where I started this challenge. I started this challenge on this here plot of land that I'm tracing out right now, which was like plot 46 or something like that right here. Doesn't tell me what it is, if I remember right. If we can even see that now. I don't think we can. Yeah, we started on this plot, and so what I did was I built the farm in this little small triangle piece, and then my starting fields were all this property, part of the property. And then we expanded from there. The next piece of property I purchased was actually this little tiny piece down here. And I put up a sell point area down here with another field. And then after we bought this piece, if I remember correctly, I then bought this piece of property right here. And this piece of property was where I put down our productions, some of our starting productions. And then as we progressed, I bought other pieces of property, such as the adjacent property right here, 34 maybe. And then bought the property to the north right here. And then bought all of these properties down here. But you can see there just how many different productions, sell points, silo systems, containers, workshops, whatever it is, you can see in those blue icons. There's a lot of them. Lisa, welcome. So the property that I own currently is everything in the green. And when I did Krusty's 200 horsepower challenge, this little piece up here, this blue piece, was owned by the bank. And so I used the multiplayer system to play this challenge where I could move money from the bank to Rusty's farm account in order to give me free decorations and landscaping abilities for this series. And then I moved money back to the bank that I didn't use and, set my money back to where it was. So again, if we look here, this was the starting plot, about right here in the middle. And then we expanded to all of that. But I can tell you, if you watched our friend Daggerwin, to help you out in relation to where we're at, Daggerwin did his survival challenge in FS22 right here on this plot of land right next to us. Okay. So now you will get the tour before we start farming. So I started with this plot of land right here again. And this area on this side of the road was my fields, and my little triangular style plateau farm build was right here. So let's take a look. Here is our starting house area. And my little shed and my Jeep. Alright. Let's get in and show you the farm. This is called Hillside Farms, a plateau style farm build. So we come down off the first plateau along the road where the little tiny house is to the second plateau where we got a couple of sheds. Okay, and then we can go down the farmyard to the third plateau where we have another old brick barn and a little coffee greenhouse. And then we go down to the last plateau of the farm where we have a wood production point and a silo system and some sheds and a fuel system, a silo, fermenting silo. And then on around here is the farm extension where we have a greenhouse, open air garden, couple of other sheds. But now if we go into the eagle eye view to give you a better look of this, you can see here what that farm looks like then in the eagle eye view. And we have a little cattle pen down here with a little shed. And then if we circle back around, you will see our Jeep. But now, from here, we can go directly down to the sell point area, which came next in this. Your farm looks awesome. Thanks, Lisa. But our sell point area is down in that corner, straight ahead as the crow would fly. Okay. So we'll go down there and kind of show you this in the aspect of how it was all created over time, which then as we travel across the map, you'll then see different views of how it all appeared. Clean living, Rusty. Looking really good. Thanks, Grizzly. So here we go down to the sell point area that came next in the 200 horsepower challenge. And each one of my productions and sell points during that challenge I named after other people doing the challenge, or even people that are moderators or subscribers to my channel. So right here is the firewood sell point. Towboats firewood, if I remember right, is what we called it. And we get over here, then we go by Jack's farmside stand or roadside stand. You all have heard of our friend Jack Sarge Painting. He owns this little market stand right here. And then our old friend on YouTube, FS Dave, he owns the market. And our friend Bruce's Gaming owns the agricultural fair sell point. So we'll drive through here. Nice throwback Sunday. Cobbler Farms, welcome, my friend. Down here at the dead end was a very late addition to this gameplay. This hasn't been decorated or anything. This was a late addition, just a slurry yard sell point. But we go around here. We have our liquid tank. This tank is a part of the corn dryer mod that you will see coming up at a different location. We got Eric D's corn dryer business coming up. So then we'll travel back across the map. You'll see all that over there where I'm trying to hide it from you right now. You'll see that here later. We'll go back up here past the plateau farm. And we will go to Eric's corn dryer business. Eric's corn dryer business was the next location built. So we got Eric's little corn dryer business right here. Our moderating friend, Eric D, owns the corn dryer business right here. Little bit hangover here. Got over 20 likes yesterday, so just needed to stop at some point. Reminds me, Cobbler, I was going to send you a message this morning and ask you how you were feeling. Our friend Cobbler Farms, everybody, was live streaming last night, and for every like he got on his live stream, he had to drink a beer. And when I left his live stream, he was up to 8 beers. All right, well, after Eric D's corn dryer, pretty much everything else kind of came to follow later, everybody. So we'll just hit on it right here. We have our friend Grumpy Gray's Sugar Shack. Grumpy Gray Farmer, Grumpy Gray Sugar Shack right here. Dust Bunny, welcome. How are you? Mrs. Money is doing okay. She returned to work on Friday, Dust Bunny. She's at work right now. So here's our sugar mill that our friend Grumpy Gray owned, that I delivered product to. And then our moderating friend, Gaming Joy. We have Gaming Joy's Bioindustry right here. Gaming Joy's got a shed for his bioindustry equipment, and we had to give Gaming Joy an office so he could work on his mods in the office. He's got a little break area back there with the grill. Well, this was Gaming Joy's Bioindustry. Okay, and then we have our friend Farmer Mike. Farmer Mike's Donuts. Farmer Mike's Donut Shop right here. The Herd. New York is 5th biggest dairy producer in the country. My hometown has farmers make milk almost exclusively for Chobani now. Nice. Get me a bear claw. Well, you better ask Farmer Mike where they're at. They might all be sold out. Ah, got a tickle in my throat here. Take a drink of some Dr. Pepper, not beer, Cobbler. All right, and then we can go down the road here to Crustu's Coffee. So I had to produce coffee in Crustu's 200 horsepower challenge because I felt like I had donuts. I needed a coffee shop, and I felt Crustu needed to own the coffee shop. So there's Crustu's Coffee Shop. You can see all the decorations again around the business. I like putting decorations where you think they would have been if they were a part of the mod, if you will. Okay, now for this area that you've seen, let's go to the eagle eye view so you get a better view. And we'll start up here at Eric's Corn Dryer. Eric's corn dryer right there again, everybody. Makes sense, Rusty. Eric's corn dryer business. He's got a little office building over there. for his little corn dryer business. And we got Grumpy Gray's Sugar Shack business right here. Gotta go, Rusty. Hope you have an awesome stream. I'll catch you on the next one. All right, Lisa. Dang, I'm glad you are back home. And then here is, again, Gaming Joy's Bio Industry. And then you got Farmer Mike's Donuts. But if you're familiar with Calmlands, all of this is on a hill, everybody. So that's why I had to level the ground out and make like these plateau areas, you know, here on console to make things level. But that is that area of the map. And then, of course, over here, anybody never looked at Calmlands in FS22? Here is what it looks like. In FS25, this does not look like this, everybody. This area over here. Here is the sell point and store area on FS22. We'll just kind of fly over it here. This is what it looks like in FS22, not in 25. And I love the 22 version a lot more than I do the 25 version. But that is the store area then. Okay, now let's venture to some of my favorite parts. Just so you don't think I'm nuts, well I am, but I just randomly leave wrong responses and wrong chats from time to time. You're fine, Herd, you're fine. I like this map. I had a good time doing the 200 challenge on this map, right? Yeah, we were live streaming earlier, Dust Bunny, and I was talking about this game save, and Farmer Mike mentioned that this game save inspired him to what he does now with the landscape tool. So I thought we had to come here, and I've got a bunch of new viewers and a bunch of new subscribers to the channel. So I just wanted to come over here for a little bit to also inspire more of the FS community to use decorations in the landscape tool. Practice with it. So now we're going to go down to my favorite one. My favorite one is coming up. You're going to see a sawmill and a pallet company all in one little area, and I just love how they look like they're two businesses put together. This is one of my favorite ones down here. Decorations, landscape tool, my favorite categories, right? Alright, we are headed over to Dust Bunny's Stone and Statues, and we are headed over to Zorch's Grain Mill and to Northern Farm Sims Bean Company, and I can't remember the other name of the other business I gave it. Swim Shady, welcome my friend. Here is Dust Bunny's Stones and Statues right here. Our friend Dust Bunny owned the Stone and Statues company. See, now with decorations in FS22, you could like pile decorations on top of decorations without collisions in between, everybody. In 25, on some things, there'll be empty space gaps. So those are actually decorative pallets from a different decorative pack mod placed on this decorative truck. In 25, you'd have a collision of empty space. I'm over here running my mouth, forgot to hit the like button. Yeah, get to hitting the like button. What are you thinking? Alright, now we're on the back side of Northern Farm Sims Bean Company right here. Our coffee bean company. Kind of simple decorations around these. I hit it twice because I felt bad. Well, then that means you got to hit it a third time to make sure the like sticks. Alright, and then we have this business here. This was PCSA's manure shop right here, manure factory. I only work in even numbers. Oh man. And we got Zorch's grain mill. Zorch's grain mill mod right here. I had a lot of fun decorating these production and sell point areas in 22, everybody. Mick Garrett, welcome. Alright, now my favorite one. My favorite ones for production points are coming up with Farmer Murphy's Sawmill and who owned the pallet company? Well, I guess we'll find out. I can't remember. Here comes Farmer Murphy's Sawmill and pallet company business. I love how these two blended together that you're about to see. Here is Farmer Murphy's Sawmill right here, and then we have pallet company right here. Sammo's pallet company. That's who owned it. Haven't seen Sammo on YouTube for a while. That Farmer Murphy Sawmill. Look at all these nice decorations around this sawmill. And then you go right next door to the pallet company. Okay, now if we go into the landscape eagle eye view and we go up here, you can see this then again in the eagle eye view, this area. And what it looked like. Ah, thanks Dust Bunny for becoming a sponsor again. And then you have the sawmill and pallet company business right here. I just really like how these two blended together. I don't know, this is one of my favorite ones right here of all of them you've seen so far. Okay, now, for those that watch Farming Simulator content, our friend Daggerwin, if you watch Daggerwin's survival in FS22 on Calmlands, he started his survival challenge on Calmlands about right here where the Jeep is. So you can see this slope. That is not a slope originally on Calmlands. Of course, I built that slope. But just a little perspective, if you will. And then this slope comes down off of that business area and wraps back around to the farm. And then the farm is right over here. Hillside Farms, a plateau style farm build right here. And then last but not least, one of the most meaningful things for all of Rusty's farming simulator content you're about to see. It started on FS19 on No Man's Land, and it was called Grandpa's Farm, where I took mods from the All Platforms Mod Hub from FS19 and replicated my grandpa's farm to my liking in farming simulator content. Okay, so we're gonna head that direction and see grandpa's farm. But the grandpa's farm build on this game save was a modern day look. So it's gonna look more like a bigger farmer style appearance. Was just thinking, should just go for fun and bring back old memories and how baling and animals worked. Right, Cobbler? I agree. FS19, especially Seasons, was the best ever. Here we go down to Grandpa's farm. And I did this on No Man's Land in FS19, everybody, and I really like the FS19 version a lot more. But I wanted to do a modern day look. Okay, and what I mean by this is I replicated this in the vision of where the objects stood on Grandpa and Grandma's farm from my childhood. Okay, so Grandma's farm, when you pulled in the driveway here, it had a curved appearance when you drove in. Okay, and this is just fictitious here. It's just a water point. But this here resembles something from my childhood. Now, you see there that it's a U.S. flag, but actually from my childhood, this was a brick foundation, an old red brick foundation. It stood about like 2-3 foot tall, and then on top of it was an old church bell, a very old church bell, and us grandkids would run out the house and ring the church bell and drove Grandpa absolutely insane. And then Grandpa and Grandma had a ranch-style house with big windows on the front and then a detached 2-car garage right next to it, okay? And right across from their front windows was an old white barn with pigs on one side and the sheep and the cattle on the other side. Okay, and then as you came out of Grandpa and Grandma's farm house front door and walked this way through the farmyard, you would walk over to the silo building structure area where the silo to the farm was and where the harvest store silo was also located, and where there was a little white building that was attached to the silo system and all of this. Well, that is because in this little white building, my grandpa produced ethanol on the little family farm back home in Iowa in the late 70s, early 80s. And then my grandpa got really sick, and then the farming depression of the early 80s hit the economy, and my grandpa and grandma pretty much lost it all. But they actually produced ethanol right out of this little building in real life. I have the picture of the farmyard in my Discord. I've shared the picture of what the farm looks like in real life. But he produced ethanol right on the little family farm. And how he did it was, Grandpa was very enthused by how much heat was produced from one corn cob. My grandpa was very, very enthused by the ear of corn. And so what they did was they used the corn cobs to produce heat to make ethanol, because corn cobs produce a tremendous amount of heat. Well, as you can see then, right across from the house was the pigs. So that is the buildable pig pasture pen, or whatever you want to call it, that's in the mod hub and returned to FS25. And then there was a loading chute right next to the barn on this side of the barn. Okay, and then on the other side of the barn was the sheep pen. And the sheep pen was somewhat connected to the cattle pen. Okay, so then here is the cattle pen. And I can't show it, especially on console. I might have been able to do it somehow on PC. But from over at the silo building area, my grandpa and my dad and my uncle constructed a homemade feeding system overhead that fed feed as a byproduct from the little ethanol plant on the farm right over to the cattle into their feed bunk here. It was all man-made by mainly by my grandpa, was the engineer of it all, if you will, and the boys helped him, which was my dad, my uncle. Right behind the farm, kinda, was a chicken coop. Of course, this is a very large chicken coop back to what it was back then. And then you got storage buildings that were on the farm then too. So then I got storage buildings placed approximately to where they were in real life. And I had the ethanol production point from the mod hub. What was the name of this thing? I can't remember what the name of this mod is, but I've renamed it. Let's see if it will. I don't want to make the mistake of deleting it, so Midwest something, I think, is what it was called in the mod hub in 22. Midwest something. So it produces ethanol, so that's why I placed it here, is because Grandpa made ethanol on the family farm. And this is a fermenting silo. And behind the office building, if you will, was a very large pile of corn cobs and a little silage bunker. So that's why I put that there, just to resemble that feeling. Farmer Donkeys in the house. Welcome, everybody. And of course, behind Grandma's house and Grandpa's house, Grandma had a grove of apple trees. So we got apple tree orchards around the back side of the farm here. But if you want to see more of like an old school look to Grandpa's farm, all you need to do, everybody, is go on my YouTube channel, go back to like content from FS19 and look for the playlist on No Man's Land called Grandpa's Farm. And FS19, I did this same thing and used completely different mods to replicate Grandpa and Grandma's farm to the best of my ability, or how I wanted it to appear. And then across from Grandpa and Grandma's farm, then I had a little sell point area. Grandma loved gardens and stuff like that, so I had to give Grandma her own little market area right here, right across from the farm. So we got a couple of market stand sell points, one for eggs and the other one for multiple things. Ah, thanks Dust Bunny for the link there. But that is the complete game save of what I did on Calmlands and FS22 with fields everywhere. But yeah. And then kind of to conclude the whole game save, of course, we had to have a little fun at the end of this 200 horsepower challenge. Whoa! And this was the very first one I built. I built another one, but I deleted it now. But we had to see how far we could launch a Lizard Colossus harvester. So then I built this ramp, and we were ramping all kinds of things off of this thing to have a little fun. But yeah, this was something that came after the fact. Woo, yeah! Oops! I didn't stick it very well. Oh, I was going to see this field. What's in this field here? This is owned, fertilized 50%, needs rolling, needs cultivated. We need to get that. It is Dominic's Jeep, Dust Bunny. Dominic's Jeep, that's correct. Wow, Rusty, you're back already. I am, Eric. I am, my friend. We're gonna go do some farming now for just a little bit here, but that's pretty much the tour of it all, though, everybody. For any new viewers, new subscribers that never seen this, now that thing caught some air time, right? Yeah. Okay, let's go get one of my favorite tractors from FS22. You were able to drive away, right? I want to get... Oh, can't forget. Hey, there's our friend Keith Bleeker's Dutesfar, everybody. You've probably seen Keith Bleeker in people's live stream chats, but he made this mod for all platforms at the end of FS22. It was released. He had pretty much started this creation at the beginning of FS22 that I can remember. And then it got released at the end of 22 and has came to the all platforms mod for 25 now. But that's Keith Bleeker's Dutesfar. Well, this is my one of my favorites from 22. I wish it would come to 25 too. We need to go buy a cultivator. I sold a bunch of the equipment on this game save, everybody, and the reason I did is when I finished it, I sold all the equipment because I didn't want the risk of losing the game save if I accidentally forgot about something or yeah, anyway. I just deleted all the equipment but kept all the structures and decorations and all that. And then I've been back on here a couple of different times on and off camera, and I've bought some of the equipment back that I used when I was doing the challenge, or the gameplay if you will. We was making all kinds of things on here. Sugar and dry corn and donuts and stones and the dry corn was really good income. That corn dryer mod on FS22, you could make some really good money from that thing. Alright, let's see about a cultivator or a disc. And I don't know even what ones I have installed here, but I want to buy one. Yeah, I don't remember what we all got. I bought discs. Oh, we'll get that one. I haven't used this one for a while. Standard. Yeah, I think I want standard. Attacher type. Trailer. Yeah, okay. And we'll buy this. My phone just vibrated for some reason. My daughter is on her way flying back from Texas, but their flight got delayed. Oh, I'll just feel much better once I know she's home. Okay, now do I have my fast farming mod? I don't. So now, she's doing better, Todd, doing better. She went back to work Friday. So she is actually at work right now. We'll use this one. Thanks, Eric. Okay, we're gonna go down and try and cultivate. Or disc, I mean. Whoops. Welcome in, everybody, to just a live stream that I titled Inspiring the FS Community. Live here on Calmlands and FS22. A little shorter live stream. Probably won't go very long, everybody. So I want to try and get some content created by video before Mrs. Money gets home. Got white chicken chili cooking in the crock pot. Starting to smell pretty good. It sounds delicious, Rusty. Well, thanks, Eric. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Oh, we talked about you earlier, Dust Bunny, before you appeared in the last the live stream on Maisie Lou Farms. I had said that I should probably create a big field on Maisie Lou Farms and plant corn, because we never ever harvested that corn in that big field on Split Mountain Ranch back in 22. All right, Rusty and everyone, take care. I'm gonna try to recording while I have them on. All right, Donkey, we'll see you, my friend. Have a good one. We're gonna fast farm this field here. Please tell the missus hello. Yeah. This field should be a nice cornfield, right? Yeah, we got it. We got one up here too, I think. Dust Bunny. Up here behind us. That's a big cornfield right there at the bottom of the hill, or bottom of the farm. That's a big one. That one will work too, right? Yeah, it'll work. It'll work. Now, the only other thing, especially for those new viewers, new subscribers, that I really had a weird, what do you want to say? A weird idea for farming simulator content, and a creation I built was, I built like the very first farming simulator penitentiary, like jail. And I built it on Deadwood in FS22. Nothing really extravagant when it comes to landscaping, just the creativity and uniqueness of building a farming simulator jail, if you will, on a map. was one of my other favorite things we did in FS22. I went back and live streamed it a couple of different times because that's the only two Farming Simulator 22 game saves I still have is on Deadwood and here on Calmlands on the PlayStation 5 version to the game. Yeah, there's the link, everybody, to the series called Detained in Deadwood. Thanks, Dust Bunny. The very first episode for that is kind of probably a little funny to watch, as Farmer Cop arrests us and takes us to jail. I don't know, Bobby. I think just real life. Real life, and I think there's some people, Bobby, that aren't pleased with 25 and possibly even aren't pleased with Giants even, I guess. I don't dislike the game at all. That's for sure. I like FS25. It just had a pretty rough start. But I can remember when FS22 started, when it was released, and I still stick by this. I think the release of FS25 was a lot smoother than the release of FS22, especially for those on console. Because in FS22, when it was released, there was all kinds of issues that caused people on console issues, especially because of the forestry side of the game or the tree aspect of the game. In FS25, I really didn't have too many problems after the release. I thought it went a lot better than the release of FS22. Because like at the release of FS22, I was on Calmlands and I was cutting trees. So I could cut this tree with no problem, you know, nothing would happen. And then all of a sudden I'd go to the second tree and try and cut it, and then alakazam, it was like magic. I was trapped in this wood fort, if you will, because the tree glitched and caused all kinds of issues for everybody. And then there was parts of the tree then you couldn't cut, and oh, it was a mess. I used to have some screenshots for a long time that I kept just to show some of the weird tree glitches I got at the release of FS22. They were horrible. Really bad. Let's just say the glitches turned trees into like weird shapes, like triangle pieces and square pieces and pieces that don't have names in real life, and you couldn't cut them, and then you had to find the place where it would cut, and usually it was underground, and you were trying to pick it up or make it small enough so you could get it above ground so you could cut it, and it was, yeah. The tree side of the game in 22 was horrible when it first started. That is just my opinion, though. In FS25, yeah, there wasn't as many. I didn't think there was as many problems. Other people say differently, though. But the one thing I guess I've never understood, and it goes back to the fact that I think that they don't do it because they want to keep it like they want to keep parts of the game as a part of excitement for you as the player, but I think what would really help the release of the future releases of Farming Simulator would be to do what the creators of like Battlefield and stuff like that do. Couldn't you release a beta? Let the people play the beta for a while, notice some of the problems, and then fix those problems, and then maybe not have as many issues when the game was to actually release. That's what I think they should try, but I don't think they ever will. That's just my opinion, though. That's a great idea. Isn't it, though? I just think it would really help, you know? There's other games that do it. Roadcraft did that with their update, right? I just think it would really help, you know? It would maybe alleviate some of the small fixes or, you know, some of the small issues that would later be bigger than if they wouldn't have addressed them. It's not like they would have to release a beta to, you know, unveil all of the things about the next release of FS. Just release what you want the players to experience to help, you know, fix maybe some of those kinks. But I'm not a game developer either, so I don't know how it all works, you know, and why some game developers release a beta before they do the actual release and why some don't, you know. I think a lot of it probably has to do with, like anything, probably money, or even to the fact of they want it to be more of a surprise than to ruin the surprise during a beta. Roadcraft gave the option to do a test DLC as long as you purchase the game on Steam. Yeah, and see, that would be even the way they could do it. They wouldn't have to do it just for everybody. At least do it for those people that have the ability on PC to do something like that. You know, yeah, you're not getting it out to the console players, but at least it would help maybe fix some of the issues that may, you know, maybe missed the first time or whatever. Okay, we'll look at something here. Let's see. Mm, Oh, missing little bits. What did it say there? It also wasn't a full release, just enough to test. Damn, I didn't see you was here. I think I was sleeping. Farmer Mike. Glad I got such a soothing voice, my friend. All right. Well, everybody, I'm going to call it, I think. Remember to give Rusty 3 donuts. Thanks, Farmer Mike. But I just wanted to come over here and kind of, showcase this game save back on 22 for a lot of people that may have never seen a content creator use a lot of decorations and such. So anyway, yeah, if you liked what I did back here on 22, please make sure you drop a tasty treat on that like button. I'd really appreciate it. But I have it set up for another Rusty Money raid, everybody, to another YouTube creator live streaming right now. So if you don't mind, I'm going to call this one here. And I'm going to get over to Lady Hill and start recording more content for another episode. But please, everybody, please follow me to the raid. We will see you all later. Thanks, Grizzly. Thanks, Eric, Dust Bunny, John, Farmer Mike, everybody. Thank you, David. Thank you all very much. We will see you at the raid. Have a good one.